It really is an awesome thing to be able to do. It's a great privilege, actually, to be able to share the gospel with children. But like with anything else, great privilege comes with great responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
There are aspects that we do need to share to make sure that we are sharing the gospel appropriately.
There's certain things that the kids and anybody really needs to know about when you're sharing the gospel with them. Like, I think a big one that would be good to know is like, who's God? Right?
That's probably a good one, yeah. We got to start there, right? Okay.
You got to understand who God is, because then it makes it more clear who we are then. Because if God isn't perfect and holy, then what good does that do?
Yeah. And we find out who God is, and then we also got to find out what our problem is, because our problem is sin, and we got to talk about that, because that's a reality.
Exactly. But once you get those two pieces, then you really get to see what God did. And that's really what comes down to who he sent, and that's Jesus. And we got to know who he is and what he did.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't stop there, because that's kind of the gospel presentation, and then there's something that we have to do. And so we got to share with the students what they got to do.
Mm-hmm. But lastly, I don't think it just stops there, because most of the time that's where people stop when they share the gospel, is after what we do. But there's more to that, and it's how do we live once we become a child of God? How do we live from there?
That's right.
So this whole process of sharing the gospel is going to encapsulate all of these points.
Well, I do know that prayer is always a big part of everything that we should do, and we should always be praying for those kids in their heart when you get ready to share the gospel with them, or you're counseling them for salvation. So prayer is a big part of that, right?
Prayer is always a big part, and not just here. When you're sharing the gospel, throughout the whole VBS, everything that you are learning and doing, prayer is going to be a major factor in what you do. So, but it's always good to pray for not just the heart of the kid, but for you as well.